Welcome to the Tipsy Gamer, where I'm usually your tipsy gamer. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to go through the entire Kingdom Hearts storyline, start to finish, and we're going to film it like it's an episode of Drunk History. If you've never seen Drunk History, you're in for a treat. So today we're going to start all the way at the beginning of the Foretellers. We start with Kingdom Hearts Kai. Might be Key, I'm really not sure. It was a Japanese game that was later released in a limited fashion in the US. So this is the age of fairy tales. And at this point in time, we are introduced to the Foretellers. And the leader of the Foretellers is this mysterious Master of Masters whose face is never revealed. He carries this special keyblade with a creepy looking eye in it. And this keyblade is passed down generation after generation. An apprentice of the Master of Masters is this guy named Luciu. And a big ol' spoiler alert for you. You've heard that voice before, as if Luciu is none other than the present day Zigbar. Boom. It's worthy of a sip. All right. So there's this Keyblade War that's about to happen that's been foretold in this book of prophecies. And the Master of Masters is the all knowing and he knows all about what's coming. So he tasks each of his foretellers and Luciu with a special task. And he gives them each a book of prophecies. And then mysteriously disappears to never be seen again. So now the foretellers are interpreting this book of prophecies and what it means and what's supposed to happen before, during, and after this great Keyblade War that's been foretold. Now, amongst these foretellers, one in particular is Ava, and she is tasked, as we later find out, with ensuring the survival of the world's light and memories. The rest of the tasks are unknown and not spoken about, except for Luciu's. Luciu's task, as we find out in Kingdom Hearts 3, again, spoiler alert, is to carry this mysterious black box through time and ensure that the Master of Masters plan is brought to fruition. Now, when you play this game, you're the main character, but you're not actually in the timeline. Like when you're Sora, you're part of the timeline. You're just a bystander in this first game. But, interestingly enough, your companion is none other than Chirithy, which you meet in the third game. Pause. So there's this group of Keyblade wielders called the Dandelions. And the Dandelions are a group of people led by Ava, the foreteller, that don't want to be involved in the Keyblade War. They want to escape it. And because of Ava's task being to ensure the survival of the light and memories of the world, she leaves the Dandelions basically away from this Keyblade War. So then we get introduced to this concept of darkness, and we see the very first Heartless evolve. Now, a Heartless, as you may or may not know, depending on how much you've played these games, is a being that is born out of the darkness of somebody's heart. And we're introduced to Heartless and Darkness because amongst themselves, each of these unions that are led by the foretellers are starting to bicker and fight because everybody's interpreting this book of prophecies differently. As the fighting breaks out, darkness is born in people's hearts, giving birth to the first Heartless. So tensions rise, and the war happens as foretold. But these dandelions and Ava, they escape the war, and they're moved to a dream world that was created by the Master of Masters. So after the Keyblade War, most of the Keyblade wielders die, like a lot of them. And these become the light of the past in Kingdom Hearts 3 when you're in your final battle and Sora's surrounded by all these keys and he fights off the demon tower that had just previously swallowed all of the lights, the Guardians of the Light. Big ol' foreshadowing there. So after the Keyblade War, the Dandelions and Ava are in this new dream world, and they work to rebuild and preserve all of their memories. Here ends the Kai Saga. But we next have Kingdom Hearts Dark Road. This is our villain origin story for Xehanort. I'm going to make a new rule where you drink every time you say Xehanort's name. That's how you make drunk history happen. So enter Master Xehanort. You meet him as the young Xehanort that you come to know as one of the members of the true Organization 13 in the third game. This is his younger self. He befriends Ericus, and they set off on their journeys to becoming Keyblade Masters. And he's got this fascination with darkness in people's hearts, and his curiosity and the mysteries surrounding all start to give birth to a darkness in Xehanort's heart. So Xehanort and Ericus, still best friends, but different people. As he unravels these mysteries, he becomes corrupted. The darkness in his heart spreads, and he becomes the bad guy we know in the subsequent games. So, as he grows older, after he passes Mark of Mastery exam, as does Ericus, we move into the Birth by Sleep era, which, y'all, is literally one of my favorite games in the entire franchise. Excellent game. So, Xehanort and Ericus, still friends, a lot of tension though, because Ericus is the good guy, Xehanort drink the bad guy. We're introduced to three of Ericus's pupils, and that's Aqua, Terra, and Ventus. Ventus's backstory is that Xehanort, in doing all of his experimentation, separates the dark part of Ventus's heart out. This dark part of Ventus's heart becomes Vanitas. And if you're interested in why Vanitas looks like Sora, and Ventus looks like Roxas, and Xion looks like Kyrie, I'm going to do that in another video, because that's a story in and of itself. This is just the timeline and explanation. But anyways, so Ventus, Aqua, Terra struggles with the darkness in his heart. He's got kind of a little of a bad side, and Xehanort sees this and exploits that. Now, fast forward through the gameplay. Terra becomes controlled by Xehanort. Ooh, this one's gonna be tough. And while Terra has given his heart over to darkness, and Xehanort controls it, he strikes down and kills Master Ericus. And when Terra runs off, Ventus goes out to find him. Aqua sets out to find the two of them. And long story short, Terra's heart falls to darkness. And Ventus ends up in this big cataclysmic battle with Vanitas. And because it's his light and his dark in two separate bodies fighting each other, his heart is severely damaged and it puts him in a comatose state after the fight. So Ericus entrusts, before his untimely death, Ventus's survival and safety to Aqua. And Aqua seals him off safely in Castle Oblivion and sets out to find Terra. In her journey to find Terra, she succumbs to darkness because she steeps so deep and so far into darkness to find him, because that's where he is, deep in the darkness. So, as a side note, during this timeline, which you don't see in this game, but you do later find out, Ransom the Wise, he is, he's got an apprentice that named Xehanort, And together, they are obsessed with experimenting with people's hearts and the darkness in people's hearts. He's got a couple other apprentices that become important later on, named Isa and Lee. Now, Isa becomes Syx in Organization 13. Leah becomes Axel in Organization 13. And I know I can't be the only one that noticed this, but every person had a name before they became part of the Organization 13. And they always added an X in their name. Sora, with an X added in, rearranged, becomes Roxas. Isa, with an X rearranged, becomes Syx. Axel has an extra X in it and was Lee. Point made. So, Ansem the Wise, while he is deep in these experiments with darkness in people's hearts, eventually falls to the darkness himself. And that's when he becomes Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. So there's Ansem the Wise, and then there's the antagonist of Kingdom Hearts 1, who is Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. They're actually the same person. One is when he was good, one is when he was bad. But we'll get to that when we go through Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. So, key point here before we move on to Kingdom Hearts 1 is that after Ventus and Vanitas' clash, Ventus's heart, because his body and his heart are damaged, seeks refuge in a pure and safe place. And that safe place becomes Sora's heart. Now, at this point in time, Sora is a very young boy living on Destiny Islands with his best friend Riku. And unbeknownst to him at the time, Ventus's heart finds its way into his, being safe until the moment of its release in Kingdom Hearts 3. Very touching moment. And then when Aqua falls to the darkness, she wanders the realm of darkness for 10 years before King Mickey finds her a second time, because he actually finds her once and then abandons her, which makes her really pissed off and evil. We'll get to that later on, though. I'm gonna take a break and get another drink. So, anyways, enter Sora, Riku, and Kairi. Now, when the game begins, they're just a couple of kids, one of them not knowing another person's heart's inside him at this point in time. Kairi came from Radiant Garden, which is a world that is introduced during Birth by Sleep. Later falls to ruin is known as Hollow Bastion, but she was from Radiant Garden, and while she's in Radiant Garden, she gets attacked by an unversed. Now, in Birth by Sleep, you learn what an unversed is and their negative emotions, as opposed to a heartless, which is born of the darkness in somebody's heart. So when she's attacked by an unversed, Aqua places a spell on her to protect her. King Mickey's there, and at some point very short after that, Kairi leaves Radiant Garden with her grandmother, I believe, and finds herself in Destiny Islands. And no more is said about Kairi's past. And Kairi says that she doesn't remember her past. So she doesn't remember being at Radiant Garden. But she's got a spell placed upon her from Aqua from her time in Radiant Garden. So we enter the story of Kingdom Hearts 1. And Riku's this young boy who's curious about other worlds and has a little bit of darkness lurking in his heart. And I feel like that really sounds familiar because the trio of Aqua, Terra, and Ventus from Birth by Sleep very closely mirrors the trio of Sora, Riku, and Kairi. Not from the standpoint of their characters are the same or that their stories are the same, but their characters are very comparable. Sora and Ventus, the pure of heart. Terra and Riku battle with darkness in their heart. And Kairi and Aqua are the bread and butter, the glue of the group, and eventually become Keyblade wielders. Spoiler alert. So, anyways, back to our current storyline. So, Riku is curious about other worlds and decides that they should explore ways of getting off their island because there's got to be other worlds out there. And this curiosity and very slightly blooming darkness in his heart invites Ansem, who is now the Seeker of Darkness because he's fallen into darkness and is no longer Ansem the Wise, but Seeker of Darkness. Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, is attracted to Destiny Islands because of Riku. And when he arrives in Destiny Islands, he corrupts Riku and opens a portal to the realm of darkness. And eventually, Destiny Islands is swallowed by darkness. And our three characters end up in different places at this point in time. Now, Sora, because you're playing as him, you know he ends up in Traverse Town. Kairi is captured by Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. And Riku ends up in none other than former Radiant Garden, now Hollow Bastion because it's fallen to ruin. And so each of the two, Riku and Sora, set off on their own journeys to find Kairi and each other. So Riku, in his pursuit of Kairi and Sora, finds Ansem and Maleficent, and at some point in time embraces the power of darkness, and then begins to help Ansem collect the seven princesses of heart. Now, the seven princesses of heart are people like Belle and Jasmine from Agrabah and Alice from Alice in Wonderland, and they are the seven princesses of heart, and Kairi's one of them. That Ansem believes their hearts combined hold the power to open the door to Kingdom Hearts. So Ansem exploits the fact that Kairi is one of these princesses of heart and gets Riku on board with helping him find the rest of these princesses because in Riku's mind he thinks he's helping restore Kairi's heart. But in actuality, he's just furthering Ansem, Seeker of Darkness's plans. When he succumbs to the darkness, he becomes kind of an angry fucker. So, that's Riku's timeline. Kairi's timeline. She gets picked up by Ansem and Riku, and her heart is taken, falls to darkness, so her nobody is created. So enter the realm nobodies. A nobody is what's left behind, a husk is they're called, when someone's heart falls to darkness. So when that happens, a heartless is formed from the darkness, and from the husk, the body left behind, a nobody is created. So Kairi, when she becomes a heartless, not in a literal sense that she's a physical, like shadowed heartless, but when her heart is lost, her nobody, Namine, is born. So Kairi is floating along in the abyss, and her heart is now a piece of the puzzle to opening this final keyhole that will reveal Kingdom Hearts to Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. Now, Sora ends up in Traverse Town, teams up with Donald and Goofy, two of my favorite fuckers in the whole franchise. That might be a nostalgia though. Big Disney fan. So King Mickey vanishes, but leaves a note and tells Queen Minnie and Donald and Goofy that he's leaving to find out what's happening. There's trouble brewing, there's darkness, there's Heartless, and he seeks the help of Ansem the Wise, not knowing that Ansem the Wise has fallen to darkness and become Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. King Mickey sets out. Donald and Goofy then leave to find this alleged Keyblade wielder. Now, we know all about Keyblade wielders. They don't. So, they're seeking Sora because Sora is at this point in time a Keyblade wielder. Fun fact, the reason Sora is a Keyblade wielder is because Ventus's heart is inside him, and Ventus was a Keyblade wielder. This is what gives Sora the ability to wield the Keyblade. So, Sora discovers that he can wield a Keyblade after he's thrust out of Destiny Islands when it falls to darkness, and he teams up with Donald and Goofy. And Donald and Goofy vow to help him find Riku and Kairi. They leave Traverse Town, they set off going through all the various worlds, and they find out through course of play that Ansem is trying to acquire the seven princesses of heart. Then he discovers that Kairi is one of those, and we get to the end of the game. And we see that Riku has a dual voice. And this dual voice is Ansem and Riku. And Riku no longer looks like Riku, he looks like Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. So at this point in time, Riku is now controlled by Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. He's left to wander the realm of darkness at this point in time. So, Riku's in the realm of darkness. King Mickey finds himself in the realm of darkness, seeking Ansem the Wise when he finds out that Aqua's down there. So while he's down there, he meets up with Aqua, who's been wandering the realm of darkness since the end of Birth by Sleep, in her pursuit of finding Terra. King Mickey finds her, he accompanies her for a little while, and then, upon learning of Donald, Goofy, Sora, and Riku's endeavors, abandons her. And after Mickey abandons Aqua in the realm of darkness, he finds Riku in the realm of darkness. Enter the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. Upon Ansem, Seeker of Darkness's defeat by Sora, Donald, and Goofy, the door to Kingdom Hearts, as it's said to be, appears. And Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, is defeated, which thrusts Ansem the Wise, his original form, into the realm of darkness. But we see King Mickey and Riku team up to seal the door from the inside, while Sora seals the door from the outside. A lot to take in. I'm going to give you a second to do that while I drink. So, door is sealed. Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, is defeated. Ansem the Wise, his original form, is stuck in the realm of darkness. Aqua has been abandoned in the realm of darkness. Riku, still in the realm of darkness, battling the darkness in his heart and trying to get rid of Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, who still lurks in his heart. Okay, so immediately after the ending of Kingdom Hearts 1, we move into Chain of Memories. And Chain of Memories begins where Sora, immediately after the aftermath of the battle with Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, and sealing the door to the light, he ends up in Castle Oblivion. Kairi returns to Destiny Islands, good as new, restored after they defeat Ansem and seal the door. And Riku travels around the realm of darkness for a time before he also arrives at Castle Oblivion. So Sora arrives first, and he ascends through the levels of Castle Oblivion, which Castle Oblivion is this really interesting place where Organization 13 resides and has the ability, because of Naminé, who is Kairi's nobody, they have the ability to manipulate memories, specifically the memories of Sora and those connected to Sora by heart. Now, there's a lot of people connected to Sora by heart because Sora is a friendly guy. So, the people closest to him, like Kairi and Riku, their memories are also manipulated. And Naminé has this unique power over Sora and his memories because she's Kairi's nobody. And Kairi's heart, at one point in time during Kingdom Hearts 1, rested within Sora's heart. When she lost her heart, thus creating Naminé, her nobody, her heart seeked, sought refuge in Sora's heart, much like Ventus's. So because of this not only close friendship between Sora and Kairi, but also the connection of their hearts physically, Naminé has a very distinct and important connection to Sora's heart and his memories because she's a witch, according to Diz, which we'll get to Diz in a minute, but has this unique ability to manipulate his memories and all of the memories that are connected with him from other people. So you'll see in Kingdom Hearts 2, while Sora's memories are being restored, that Kairi doesn't remember who he is. Leon and the gang from Kingdom Hearts 1 Hollow Bastion, but also originally from Final Fantasy, they say, we all remembered you at the same time. Kairi can't remember Sora's name when she's talking to a little friend on the island. And all of a sudden, everybody remembers Sora all at the same time. We'll get there on Kingdom Hearts 2. So Naminé has this power to manipulate not only his, but everybody else's memories that surround him and are close to him. So in Castle Oblivion, that's exactly what she's doing. When Sora enters Castle Oblivion, his memories are at the mercy of Naminé, who is seemingly a part of Organization 13. So Riku finds himself at the castle. He's trying to find Sora. He's also still battling the darkness in his own heart. And the fact that Ansem's Seeker of Darkness is still in his heart, and still in his mind, still in his memories. And he grapples with that through the whole castle. Now, each level of the castle presents different challenges, more manipulations, and Sora loses touch with reality because he's had these false memories implanted or his own memories manipulated. He doesn't know what's real anymore. And Riku, he kind of gets there too, but Naminé finds Riku and they have a friendship. And Naminé helps Riku get a hold on the darkness in his heart. So, as we travel through, eventually, Naminé doesn't really like what Organization 13 is doing to Sora. And she rebels. So I'm done with this shit. And fast forward through the end of the game, she attempts to right her wrongs of manipulating Sora's and those closest to him, all of their memories, and she attempts to restore Sora's memories and connect all of the hearts and memories to those he's close to. This puts Sora in a deep and permanent slumber until the restoration process is complete. After the end of this game, Riku is left back to the realm of darkness, but with a little bit better grasp of the darkness in his heart, but still in the realm of darkness. There's also this 358 by 2 over 2. I really don't know how you say it, but the game that's mostly cutscenes, 358 over 2 days. So there's a little bit of important information there. So what we do get to see in this game is that after the events of Chain of Memories, Sora's in a deep sleep and his memories are being restored. Riku's in the realm of darkness, and Roxas is now a being that is, again, Sora's nobody, and he joins the ranks of Organization 13. And so in this 358 by 2, over 2, what the fuck ever, we explore Roxas's daily life as a member of Organization 13. He becomes really good friends with Axel and Shion, and Axel both end up playing a pretty pivotal role in the third installment of the main storyline. So they're all friends, but what's interesting that you find out is that Shion is a replica. And a replica is an empty vessel that you can place a heart inside, and then that vessel becomes the person whose heart you put in. Now, this is a program that was created by Diz, and Diz is yet another version of Ansem the Wise, we'll say. And with this replica program, they've also created a digital version of Twilight Town. And this digital version of Twilight Town is where they put Roxas for a time to acclimate him to being a nobody. He grapples with the fact that he's a nobody. He doesn't, quote unquote, have a heart, that he doesn't have memories prior to the organization. And so they put him there to appease him, but also to observe him. Because at this point in time, Organization 13, led by Xemnas, is still very interested in Rox's connection to Sora, but also their own identities as nobodies. And if they do or don't have hearts, and it's hard to believe that they don't have hearts, and they want to understand that they don't feel, but they should still have hearts. Yada 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 yada. A lot of bullshit. Regardless. So after this 358 by 2 ends, we know that Rox has been placed in this digital version of Twilight Town. So, now we approach Kingdom Hearts 2. So, in the aftermath of Chain of Memories, Riku is left to wander in the realm of darkness, and Sora is in this infinite sleep while Naminé and Diz, who is, again, Ansem the Wise, is left in this slumber while his memories are restored. Now, Roxas is now in this digital Twilight Town, and he's trying to acclimate to being a nobody, but he's being manipulated by the organization so that they can study him and study his connection to Sora. And so, in this manipulation, Roxas finds himself in the company and friendship of people like Hayner, Pence, and Olette, and forgets people like Shion and Axel. And Roxas is slowly starting to gain Sora's memories as Sora is gaining his own memories back, while Naminé is restoring and he's in the slumber. So Roxas starts to kind of get pissed off, realizing he's not his own person, but he wants to be his own person. And he finally comes to the realization and accepts the fact that he can't be a separate person from Sora and ultimately has to give his memories of Sora back to Sora. And in this stage, the current Roxas ceases to exist. Sora, Donald, and Goofy reawaken from their slumber with all of their memories, and basically nothing else happens through the whole rest of Kingdom Hearts 2. Um, Again, Riku is still wandering the realm of darkness. While in the realm of darkness, he finds King Mickey. King Mickey discovers a digital version of Ansem the Wise because Ansem the Wise created a digital version of himself and stored his knowledge and his memories in a digital version. And this is discovered by King Mickey, and King Mickey starts to follow the breadcrumb trail. So, clearly that means I need another step. So, once Mickey discovers this digital version of Ansem the Wise, during Kingdom Hearts 2, we see that Ansem the Wise has returned to the realm of I don't want to say the realm of light, the realm of the living. And he's very remorseful because he mentions that he had been very obsessed with thoughts of revenge. But what they don't say is the thoughts of revenge were upon Xehanort. And there's that old drinking rule because Xehanort's back. His obsession is with Xehanort, is revenge on Xehanort because Xehanort is the one who led him down this path of darkness. And that was like 3 times, I think I said his name. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, Roxas fades away. Sora reawakens. They set out on their adventure for Kingdom Hearts 2, where really nothing happens until the very end. Xemnas, the leader of the first Organization 13, they clash. You find out that Xemnas and Organization 13 are collecting hearts because Xemnas says that they want to know the meaning of existence. They want to know the meaning of having a heart because they're nobodies. It's kind of stupid. But after that, there's this coded or recoded Kingdom Hearts game that comes out. All that really happens there is that King Mickey creates a digital version of Jiminy Cricket's journal. Now, to rewind, I guess, just a little bit, Jiminy Cricket is tasked with journaling the chronicles of Sora, Donald, and Goofy, starting with Kingdom Hearts 1 when Sora, Donald, and Goofy collide in Traverse Town. He takes note of everything that happens and he's got this detailed journal. So, at some point in time after Kingdom Hearts 2, an entry in Jiminy's journal appears that Jiminy didn't write, and it was not part of Sora, Donald, and Goofy's adventures. So, King Mickey creates this digital world of everything in his journal to try and figure out where the fuck this weird ass entry came from. And that's literally about all you need to know. Sora and the team explore all of the memories that are within Jiminy's journal to try and find where it came from. No significant plot there. So the next installment of our story is Dream Drop Distance. And at this point, we're following off the ending of Kingdom Hearts 2, where Xemnas, leader of Organization 13, is defeated, and the door to Kingdom Hearts is sealed and protected. And Riku and Sora both finally return to Destiny Island. Yay! What they've been aiming for since the very beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1. So, now we're kind of forwarding into the new age. And Master Yen Sid, which is Disney backwards in case none of y'all noticed that, because he's the, Fantasia guy, big Disney guy. Disney backwards is Yen Sid. Anyways, so Master Yen Sid, who is King Mickey's teacher, he summons Riku and Sora, and basically what he knows that we don't know at this point in time is that there's a second pending Keyblade War that is spearheaded by Master Xehanort. So, Master Yen Sid summons Sora and Riku because he wants them to take their mastery exams, their mark of mastery exams, to become Keyblade Masters. And in order to do this, he thrusts them into these sleeping worlds, these dream worlds, and introduces the idea of the power of awakening. And we also hear about traversing worlds, and this has become a very key concept in Kingdom Hearts 3. So, the waking of power of waking is the ability to reawaken a heart that is in deep slumber, and this person is at risk of just fading away. That's Ventus. Ventus is in this deep slumber and is really at risk of fading away because neither Terra nor Aqua found him. So, ultimately, this power of waking, Master Yen Sid wants Sora to have this power because there's lost Keyblade wielders like Aqua and Ventus out there that we need to find because Master Yen Sid knows that there's this second Keyblade war coming. So, Sora's introduces power of waking. He's asked to obtain it. He doesn't obtain it. And while Sora and Riku are moving through these dream worlds, these sleep worlds, they meet Xehanort. Ooh, Xehanort. That's gross. Don't ever call him that. They meet Xehanort for the first time. And they find about how ooh, they find out about his plans that we were introduced to for the first time of forming the Keyblade. This Keyblade will allegedly open Kingdom Hearts and reveal all its wisdom. In order to form this Keyblade, Xehanort I'm out. Xehanort is required to recreate the Keyblade War. All right. Where were we? Oh, the power of waking. Right. So, Master Yensid knows that this Kingdom Hearts revelation via the Keyblade that Xehanort is after. Mm. Well, I also owed a couple of drinks because I said his name a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh-huh. So anyways, Yen said knows that he who must not be named is trying to recreate the Keyblade War and thus form the Keyblade and thus open Kingdom Hearts. So, Sora and Riku are summoned to go through their Mark of Mastery exam and become Keyblade Masters. And Sora all of a sudden begins to grapple with self-doubt. And Riku, on the other hand, profoundly dominates their time in this digital world. And I'm sorry, the sleeping world. The digital world's coming. So during their time in the sleeping worlds, Sora fails to gain the power of waking, and Riku ultimately has to save his ass. And Riku becomes a Keyblade Master, and Sora doesn't. And it's kind of unfortunate for Sora because the entirety of Kingdom Hearts 3, it's thrown in his face that he didn't pass his exam. So, right after Dream Drop Distance is this fragmentary passage. Granted, this is the 2.8 game that's supposed to lead into Kingdom Hearts 3. And if you go back in the actual timeline, this realistically happens like shortly after Birth by Sleep. But what we do find out in this fragmentary passage is that Aqua has been roaming the realm of darkness for 10 years. And Mickey finds her at some point and abandons her to go find Riku and support Riku and Donald, Goofy, and Sora. And this turns Aqua into a rage monster, basically, that is just made of pure darkness and becomes uber strong because she's darkness and she's in the realm of darkness. And that's the version of Aqua they find in Kingdom Hearts 3. So, moving on to Kingdom Hearts 3. Riku has been restored to his original form because he has cast the darkness out of his heart and he has released Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, from his heart. And Sora has returned to Destiny Islands and Kyrie's there and everybody's all happy and good lucky. And then Master Yen Sid tells them, I need y'all to be Keyblade Masters because we got a big old war coming up. So Keyblade War's coming up. And we find out in Dream Drop Distance that Xehanort's plans are to recreate the ancient Keyblade War, which has to be 7 Guardians of Light and 13 Seekers of Darkness. Hence the original organization 13. But they were a bunch of duds, right? Some of them were just stupid assholes that didn't really serve a purpose. Some do. So, here's where we find out that Master Xehanort, here we go again, can traverse time. So, when we start Kingdom Hearts 3, we learn that Master Yen Sid is working on assembling the Avengers. Just kidding. The 7 Guardians of Light. So, the 7 Guardians of Light are like 4 at this point. And they're seeking Ventus, Terra, and Aqua. Now, because Terra hasn't been seen for 10 years, nor has Ventus or Terra at this point. They're not really sure, but they want all 3 of them. They want the trio. So Master Yensid sets Riku and Mickey to find Aqua because Mickey had last seen Aqua in the Realm of Darkness. So they've entered to the Realm of Darkness and are brutally overpowered by the ridiculous strength of the Heartless at this point in time because darkness is on the rise and it's got the upper hand. So, ultimately, through game of play in Kingdom Hearts 3, we find that Aqua fell further to the darkness. Not just into the realm of darkness, but like really fell. Becomes Dark Aqua. King Ricky. King Ricky is King Mickey and Riku combined. King Ricky finds Aqua, Dark Aqua, battles, releases her from the darkness, brings her back to the realm of darkness. Woo! So Aqua's back, and she's the only one who knows where Ventus is. At this point, they know that Terra fell to darkness, but that's really all they know. So, with her help, with Aqua's help, they go and they find Ventus, where Aqua left him 10 years ago, in Castle Oblivion. No, not Castle Oblivion. They go and find Ventus, and she tries to reawaken him, but his heart's gone. Well, his heart's in Sora's heart. Ventus's heart is released from Sora's, reunited with body, and Ventus is awake. Vanitas finds this very exciting. So, when Aqua's awakened, Ventus is awakened, they tell the team, Yen, Sid, and Sora, and Donald, and Goofy, and Mickey, that Terra hasn't been seen for like a decade. So they start to fill their ranks with the people they do know. So the 7 Guardians of Light become Sora, Riku, and Kairi. And then Lee and Aqua and Ventus and King Mickey. Your 7 Guardians of Light, ladies and gentlemen. So meanwhile, while Master Yen said is acquiring his 7 Guardians of Light, Xehanort, god damn it. Xehanort is forming his 13 Seekers of Darkness. And he's doing this because this is what's foretold that will recreate the ancient Keyblade War and forge the Kai Blade. And the Kai Blade will open Kingdom Hearts. So, 13 Seekers of Darkness. Xehanort has this ability to travel to the past. And because he is steeped in darkness, he decides his 13 Seekers of Darkness need to all be fragments of his own heart. And in an attempt to have 13 people, Seekers of Darkness, that are all parts of Xehanort, he travels to the past for a few of them. He traveled to the past to find Lushu, known as Zigbar, as if he goes back to his younger self and puts a piece of his heart there. So he's got his younger self, he's got the young Riku, who he travels to the past to embody at the moment in time where Riku was controlled by Ansem. So he's young, but he's also angry and in control by darkness. And then he travels to get Shion, whose demise came apart about when she gave her memories back to Sora. And then also from the past, he goes and gets Ansem, Seeker of Darkness himself. So then, the final members of the new Organization 13, after these 5 from the past, are current members of Organization 13, the old one. And that's Larxene, Marluxia, Xemnas, who is their leader, Luxord, the fucker with the cards, and Syrax, who was originally Isa. And then the final 2 members from there are Xehanort in current time himself, and Vanitas, who has always been controlled by Xehanort. I think there's been a lot of that name. But also Terra. Terra is the final member of Organization 13. Organization 13. All right. So we get to the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, And hmm, Sora still technically doesn't have the power of waking, and they run into the Organization 13 where Xehanort has orchestrated the reconstruction of the Keyblade War. This Keyblade War will form the Kai Blade, and this Kai Blade will open Kingdom Hearts. And I don't know, I guess that's like the ultimate, thing that Xehanort wants. So, we have our 7 Guardians of Light, our 13 Seekers of Darkness, and they clash, and a big shadow storm of Heartless, Demon Tower is what they're called, swallows all of the Guardians of Light. And all of them are seemingly, including Sora, separated body and heart. And Sora goes through this weird afterworld where he has to basically reclaim his own body, and he meets Chirithy, the companion of the main player if you go all the way back to the Foreteller era. And it's you as the main player's companion. So we meet Chirithy waiting for you, because that's the whole thing. Chirithy says they're waiting for their person, and their person was you. It was you all along. Very touching moment. So, Sora finds himself putting himself back together, and then finds out he has to use the power of waking to go traverse through all these worlds, to go reawaken the hearts of the other Guardians of Light, to bring them all back to the battle. Because Xehanort intends for them all to be ripped from body and heart, put back together, and then fight the war. Because that's what was foretold, apparently. So, fast forward, Sora traverses worlds, and young Xehanort appears. God damn it. And says that the power of waking is basically going to cost you, like, your life. You will reawaken these sleeping hearts at the cost of your own. And Sora, being the selfless fucker that he is, just dives in and does that. And so he finds Sora and Riku and Aqua and Ventus and all of their hearts, brings them back, and then we revisit the fight, and all of the Guardians of Light with Sora and the Lights of the Past, who are all the dead Keyblade wielders from the Keyblade War way back when, assist in pushing back the Shadow of Darkness. But that's just the beginning. So then they regroup, and we have what we call the clashes of light and darkness. It's the actual Guardians of Light fighting the actual Seekers of Darkness. And there's a couple of distinct battles that kind of wrap up some timelines. So, firstly, there's a battle with Shion and Saix, and they're on the bad side. And we fight them and defeat them, and Saix/Isa fades away. But Shion, because she's a Keyblade wielder, because she's a replica, not just a person, she doesn't fade away. And in fact, after all the bashing, her memories come back. And she remembers Axel. She remembers Roxas, who, during the time of that battle, also makes his grand re-entrance because he's released from Sora's heart. So now we have Roxas, Axel, and Shion reunited. Shion knows who she is, knows who they are, and big happy family reunion. Ties up that timeline. Another battle is fought shortly thereafter or before, depending on what direction you go in Kingdom Hearts 3. The next battle, though, is the Birth by Sleep cast. It's the Aqua, Terra, and Ventus cast. And Terra's heart is still part of Xehanort, and Ventus and Aqua are on the Guardians of the Light side. And they clash. And at the end of the battle, along with Sora's help and his Keyblade, Terra's heart, which has been captive of Xehanort for over 10 years, is released. And Terra is returned to his own body, and his white hair turns to brown, signifying that he's no longer Xehanort's vessel, but he's his own person again. So Terra, Aqua, and Ventus are reunited. So Sora's been brought, I'm sorry, Roxas has been brought back, Terra has been brought back. Monumental moments. So then we head into the final battle. People like Marluxia and Larxene and Luxord and Saix have all just faded away. But you know who didn't fade, even though the visual said he faded away? Zigbar. Zigbar only falls off, but he doesn't actually fade because Zigbar is Lushu, and Lushu is Zigbar, and Lushu still has the black box that everybody's been searching for. And when I say everybody, I mean Maleficent and Pete, Stinky Pete. No, Stinky Pete was Toy Story. Pete was just the shithole in Mickey's world that tried to steal a steamboat. Anyways, um, hmm. So we have, what do we have? Hmm. We have an ending to Kingdom Hearts 3, where trios have been united and people who weren't part of those trios have faded away. But Xehanort was unavoidable. Mm. He has created a clash of light and darkness 13 times, thus creating 13 Keyblades. And these 13 Keyblades form the Keyblade. And the Keyblade opens Kingdom Hearts. Now, people for years have been saying, what the fuck is Kingdom Hearts? I don't understand what Kingdom Hearts is. I don't either. But I'm going to explain it in another video. Stay tuned. So, Xehanort. Oh, God. Xehanort creates the Keyblade, opens Kingdom Hearts, and the seven Guardians of Light, all healthy and unharmed, seal Xehanort. Ah, that's unavoidable. Inside Kingdom Hearts, which is visualized by the world of Scala ad Caelum. Great world, beautiful world. One that you see kind of like projected across the timeline, but never really understanding its role. So, here you are in this beautiful Scala ad Caelum, and he who must not be named, um, is sealed there and ultimately defeated. And at that point in time, you find out that now that Terra is back on the side of light, that Terra's heart all this time contained Master Xehanort's. I'm sorry, Master Ericus's heart. And Master Ericus gets to say his final piece. And Master Ericus, as a young child, gets to reunite with Master Xehanort as a child, and they depart this life as equals. That was a Harry Potter quote. So, then we lead in to the ending, which is still relatively guesswork at this point. Riku ends up here, Sora ends up there. We don't really know, but all we do know is that Zigbar, who is Lushu from way, way long ago, has a black box and has a mission that he still intends to carry out. There's that. And then there was the kind of silly Melody of Memories game. It was basically just a reminiscence of all of the adventures so far. And really nothing happens other than Kairi enlists Sora and Riku's help to figure the memories out, figure out what's coming. So it's kind of silly. So, very widely anticipated Kingdom Hearts 4. It's coming, and I can promise content when we know something. Thanks for watching. I hope you're as drunk on knowledge of Kingdom Hearts as I am on tequila. Thanks for watching. Make sure and subscribe for more tipsy video game content.